afterwards. So I am going to begin recording now. And let's see here. I'm going to just stop that video, turn my video off. And AT, why don't you
Great. Well,
introduce us?
Nicole, I'll let you kick us off here. Like I said, each person will have about 10 minutes. They'll go for about 6, 7. Then I'll come back on the screen to wrap up and do some Q&A. So if you have questions for Nicole or any of the other presenters, put them in the chat and we'll try and get to them at the end. With that, Nicole, go ahead.
Thanks. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name's Nicole Connell, and I'm the founder and CEO of Mere. I'm also a mom to 2 little girls. So, quick show of hands. Well, actually, no show of hands, but quick hand raised in the chat. How many of us know someone who's currently pregnant? Or maybe someone who's trying to get pregnant? Or maybe someone who is just deep in the trenches of motherhood right now? Pretty much everyone, right? Motherhood touches everybody, whether it's your partner or your best friend or your sister, or maybe just a colleague that has a baby on her hip in the Zoom call and a screaming kid in the background because it's a sick day. But the reality of it is, even though motherhood touches everyone, it can be a really lonely and challenging season of life. About 50% of women claim that their needs were unmet during the postpartum period. And about $3 billion are being spent annually on those unmet needs, on what we would consider non-traditional healthcare services, such as psychotherapy, pelvic floor therapy, and functional medicine. And that's just a glimpse, a snapshot. That's not taking into account fertility or pregnancy or even perimenopause. And many of these women are simply foregoing treatment due to a lack of availability or a lack of awareness. You see, when we have this lack of collaboration between a traditional healthcare provider, such as an OBGYN, and a non-traditional healthcare provider, coupled with this lack of effective marketing from non-traditional healthcare providers, it equates this gap in care that women are experiencing on a daily basis. And while this was a reason, the driving factor for me founding Mere was my own story, my own struggle with perinatal depression, and the lack of support that I felt in the traditional healthcare system. So, what is Mere? Mere is a virtual care ecosystem where we are caring for women physically, mentally, and emotionally. Under the Mere brand is housed Mere Health, our clinic, Mere Social, our community, and the Mere Journal, our blog. The Mere Journal hosts motherhood resources. We also offer real motherhood stories that women can read. And we have provider-written articles that can be used as patient education. Mere Social is our free online community. This is a place where women can gather to feel seen and supported by other women who are walking through similar chapters. And it's a place that makes motherhood feel a little less lonely. And then we have Mere Health. Mere Health is a virtual maternal healthcare clinic where we are taking care of women from trying to conceive all the way through perimenopause for every chapter of motherhood. We offer this collaborative provider care where it's a continuous cycle of care that diminishes that gap, or what we like to call the referral burden. These providers are working together to personalize and individualize treatment for our patients. We offer psychotherapy, we have pelvic floor therapy, and we offer maternal functional medicine, where we do submit for labs as well as prescribe medication when necessary. We offer one-off appointments with our providers, but we also have wellness packages where there are bucketed appointments and we offer a discount. And patients can pay a 4-month or a 6-month payment plan depending on the package type they choose. Our providers are all 1099 to Mere, so they are Mere providers. We all work collaboratively under one EMR, which allows us to HIPAA compliantly care for these women in a collaborative way. And currently our revenue split with these providers is 70-30. So as of today, we are currently taking care of 63 unique individuals. Month over month, our average revenue growth right now is sitting at 38%. And then our month over month patient volume growth is sitting at 41%. And as of last night, we completed 295 telehealth appointments. So what's next? The 5-year plan. Currently, we are licensed in Georgia and South Carolina. Our goal over the next 5 years is to expand into the entire Southeast with the hopes of building a brick and mortar clinic here in Atlanta, Georgia. So really appreciate everyone's time this morning. Our ask would be introductions to angels. And while we don't currently have a raise open, I would love to go ahead and establish those relationships. I would also really appreciate any introductions to employers who might be interested in having maternal care benefits for their employees. And that's it. Questions?
Great. Thanks, Nicole. Question here in the chat. What services have been most popular?
Mental health and our functional medicine is by far the most popular. We have a lot of moms who come to the table, a lot of women who come to the table simply saying they don't feel well. Perhaps their OBGYN or their primary care has said, you're fine, it's normal, move on. And we sit and dig a little deeper and take more of a root cause approach to a woman's care. So.
Great. How do you build it sounds like there's a powerful community element to this, right? Of just support and how do you build sort of content and community that then leads them into some of these services as well?
Yeah, great question. So our most powerful marketing strategy was built by Meg Burrell, our Chief Brand and Marketing. We offer a place on the Mere Journal to host real motherhood stories. And then on our Instagram, we actually collaborate with these women so that their motherhood stories are being shown to their entire friend base on Instagram. Then we offer a link into our platform, which has been driving patients in. So that's been our best free marketing, if you will.
Got it. Got it. Well, Nicole, guys, there's some other questions coming in the chat. I'll let you sort of you'll respond to those as we go. But thank you for sharing the Mayor story.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Jim, I think you're up next.
Sounds good.
All right, Jim, I'll let you take it away.
Excellent. Let me share my desktop. And okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. And great to be here and reconnect with the Atlanta community. I run a company called Acoer. We've been around actually for a number of years, and really our basic proposition is that we believe there is a data connectivity issue in healthcare, and we have found innovative ways to connect and also make that data usable and useful. But really, additionally, and I would say quite uniquely, provide cryptographic authenticity of the data, and that's really what I'm going to talk about today. So just most of us who are kind of in the daily ins and outs of healthcare, I think can relate to this kind of picture where, as a patient, you're working with your provider. That's your trusted relationship. The physicians, are almost always working with an EHR system, and then they have their own view, and there's a lot of things they have to do. There's a significant physician burden, which leads to burnout and lots of other issues. But I think what many of us may not necessarily know is kind of what happens thereafter. And what really happens is a story of data, and data that is really, I would say, we were just talking to Anthony Hartley about this on our breakout. Data that's pretty much used by everybody else other than the patient, or many other entities, I call them tribes, are beneficiaries of the data, but really the patient oftentimes isn't really in the picture. They don't take value out of it economically and otherwise many times, and many times things are happening without their consent. So, I think, for instance, in a primary data tribe, you have pharmacies, insurance companies, labs, etc. And then secondarily, you have, of course, regulators and data brokers. And Many folks they don't really even know about risk profilers, things like this. But that's so therein, is this question of like, well, where's the patient in all this? So we are really, this is the way we think of ourselves, that we're an alternative, we're the alternative, I think, in many ways, incredible to gate kept health data. I think the health data being gate kept benefits very few, and I think most of us are probably familiar with some of the big companies that really benefit from this. But really at exposure of hundreds of millions of people who are providing the data. So, and I think there are better ways of doing this. And the good news here, I think in 2025 is that many of us, and not just here in the US, but in many countries, even developing countries, we are getting more and more comfortable with managing our own data in certain ways, financial data for sure, but also using things like wearables and more novel therapies for preventative health. And I think that's a good thing because that means we're getting more conscious about our health data. So, like the problems that motivate us, what are we doing about it? I won't go through all the problems. I think that these are things that are largely understood, at least in the US. Opacity of information, for instance, you get a treatment, you never know what the price is, and you get surprising bills months after the fact. Systems that don't talk to each other leads to a lot of redundancy. Of course, costs of data discovery. That's an issue across the board for patients, for insurance companies, for public health, which is where a lot of our work is. I mentioned the burden on patients and physicians. And then ultimately, I think the big thing is there's a visceral lack of trust and confidence. So, effectively what we have done, and this is over a number of years now, we've been around full-time building for last 6 years. Really, we look at it as three sets of things that kind of or layers, if you like, of technological augmentation that they can help. One is at the bottom of the stack, which is, effectively protocols that allow you to, to impute trust, to create trust, cryptographic trust. Then, like one level up, still kind of technical is basically connecting data in a private way, in simple terms. And then these days doing agentic AI, so as myself, as Jim, I could have, 100 agents doing various little tasks on my behalf, but can we do it in a provable way? Can we do it intelligently? But then the thing that we really focus on is, at the application layer. And we have a product called Health Data Explorer. We work with a number of counties and states here in the US and growing. Our primary work has been around investigative what's called medical legal death investigation, basically people dying due to substance abuse. But from there, we have kind of continued building now around toxicology, autopsies, and also in Africa, we're getting into rare disease, decentralized patient care, and dealing with genomic data. So let me see. Just a little, obviously, I'm not going to ask you to read this or whatever. This is just a little visual of our Health Data Explorer product. You can see we have all kinds of analytics. They're all real time. You can drill down that there is a forensic AI platform we've built. And all these things are available for a free trial. You can go to healthdataexplorer.io if you wanted to and download it. Like I mentioned, the primary customer for us here is counties and states and working with population level data. I mentioned some more of our more technical kind of things. I won't go through all of it. The only thing I would highlight here is that we do this idea of basically cryptographic data verification. So every time we touch something, for instance, if we take a private AI model and we extend it or we change it, we have lineage tracking on a public blockchain that is still privacy preserving. We're not putting patient data out, of course. But where we are able to demonstrate, how we are changing either the model or the data. And that in of itself provides a lot more trust that I think is available currently. This is our team. We've been around for quite some time. The core team, myself, Ben, Ashley, and Ashley was also on the call in a day. We've been around working together for I want to say at least the last 8 years. I was formerly chief software architect at the CDC, and this team was there with me at the CDC as well. And then we have quite a high-powered advisory board, lots of experts in their fields. And then also separately, we're leading all kinds of various things. I lead the Coalition for Decentralized Health and Life Sciences in the US and so on. So just kind of finally traction for us. We have been revenue generating and profitable for many years. So, but one of the reasons I guess we're here and speaking more in this community is because we're looking at an opportunity to scale what would amount to a Series A, even though we really, we kind of skipped the pre-seed phase. But we're getting to that level, and I think we're seeing both the funnel in our core business, which is with public health, significantly growing in a predictable way, but also some of these more novel opportunities where, with, for instance, managing rare diseases and genomics data, and seeing that there is a new demand for an interest for providing ethical AI practices, providing decentralized data connections without creating that gatekeeping problem that I mentioned. And that's really all I have for you. This is my name. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, Jim. Thanks for sharing. One question for you. From some of those early customers, what's sort of the biggest value prop, and like how do they define the ROI of why they pay and work with you?
Yeah, yes, great question. I would say the ROI really comes down to two things. Being functionally relevant, I think that's critically important. Otherwise, all these other things that we're doing, like such as the cryptographic proofing, those things are just window dressing. So we have a pretty good sense for product market fit for the markets that we're in, and have understood what the underlying issues are, such as, simply, for instance, for counties, to do discovery on public health data that's available, that's private to them, but just public health data. I think that's a kind of a critical thing. But then I would say the other thing is really all to do with usability. I think this is the healthcare space in general. Those of you guys familiar with conventional EHRs, I'm sure you can attest to this. Usability has really never been that great. And even though the rest of the world has moved on, if you compare apples with apples, usability for most healthcare products, is nowhere near what the consumer expectations would be. And we're building software that, really since day one, our mission has been to make it highly usable, make it real time, make it comparable to any consumer application you may see on your phone or on your computer. So I think those are the two key things. The other things, such as security, obviously everybody expects us. We're in the health space. You get to be HIPAA compliant and GDPR compliant and these other things. But it's really, once we kind of prove that we can do the job and do it well, that those things become relevant.
Got it. Well, Jim, great. Thanks for sharing with us. Appreciate that. And I think Melody, you're up next.
Let me get her going here. Alrighty. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
Okay, super. So do you know what athletics, childbirth, and aging have in common? Question to the room, so to speak. They can all challenge pelvic floor fitness, which nobody likes to talk about, but here I am to do that with you this morning. I'm Melody Roberts, and I lead Liv Labs. And I can click forward. Where we're building affordable solutions for almost effortless pelvic floor fitness. I come to health and wellness with R&D training from some of America's leading educators and innovation practitioners. And during my decade at McDonald's, I led the design of easy self-service systems and customer-facing software tools that are now scaling globally. In fact, McDonald's Sweden just announced web ordering recently. So despite the fact that I've been away for a few years, progress continues. Today, I apply those same skills to help the 29 million American women who worry daily about leaking pee in public, living with moderate to severe symptoms of urinary incontinence. And based on new prevalence data, the number of affected women with incipient issues, is actually 78 million. And that includes a surprising number of young women, especially athletes. But considering only women with a diagnosable condition, women we theorize are most motivated to address the issue, this is already a serviceable market of 9.6 billion here in the US and a global TAM of 286 billion. But leakage is just the start of the problem. Often dismissed by well-meaning but busy clinicians or fearing surgery like my mom, most women never get proper treatment at all, instead reducing physical and even social activity. Now, things are improving, but this is still really the majority case. And despite that, there is a quick fix. These are pessaries. I don't know how many of you have ever seen one. They're medical devices worn vaginally to reduce or eliminate leaking, but they're not very popular with doctors or patients because of the hassle of fittings and routine in-clinic cleanings. At the same time, there are 3 products that are currently available over the counter. They're called bladder supports. The issue is that they're pretty expensive for anyone who uses them regularly. They're uncomfortable in different ways, depending on the design, and relatively unappealing. My co-founder, Carly Price, discovered this firsthand. So Carly is a designer, proper industrial designer with many popular consumer products to her name, including things like the Good Grips kitchen tools you see on the screen, the original Casper pillow, the Reach toothbrush, and many other award-winning and enduringly popular products. She wanted something comfortable, easy to use, durable, effective, and even pretty. And so she took matters into her own hands. And it's been a few years now, but we're at the point now, and I'm super happy to introduce Pippa, the globally patented conforming resistance spring. If you look in the window where I am, you can see it. It is soft and squishy. It's entirely smooth and has a gentle leading end. So it fits into this narrow vaginal applicator. It's easy to put in the body in a familiar size and shape. And once it's in there, it's not even felt by the user. To remove it, simply reach in and pull the loop. We made it in 2 sizes so that it would well serve almost any woman shopping over the counter. And, it can be worn just to the gym or all day, every day. And we validated the materials for those uses. So it was designed to gently press and support the urethra to stop involuntary leaks without impeding natural urination. And in that use case, we demonstrated 68 to 98% leak reduction, which is on par with surgery. Based on those stellar results, we landed 2.2 million in NIH grant funding and continued down the R&D pathway. More recently, though, we turned our attention to what our product could do for the pelvic floor. It was a different scientific question. And by asking that question, we basically encountered a new discovery, which was that we believe the product is activating the pelvic floor. So we have launched additional research, which I'll talk about in a minute here, but it changes how we go to market. And even though the product still has all the same benefits, we will be framing and talking about it differently. So shifting back, though, to the business as a whole, our vision is to put women in expert control of their initial symptom treatment without unnecessarily burdening doctors. Our product can significantly reduce symptoms and bother, and then we can facilitate behavior change with low-tech services and, in future, an AI-enabled self-care coaching solution that we piloted with an NSF grant funding a year back. In combination, these interventions can even restore normal control. At this point, solutions for urinary incontinence self-care are numerous enough that you can view this entire thing as a health and wellness industry category, with products as varied as jade eggs on one end of the spectrum and e-stim on the other. The subcategories include rehabilitation services, pelvic floor strength products, and bladder supports. Initially, by reframing our product, we'll compete for pelvic floor strengthening attention, which, quite honestly, is what women are mostly trying and avoiding least. Our direct-to-consumer platform strategy drives not just revenue, but also customer loyalty. It features a diversified revenue model of high-margin devices and loyalty-driving software and services. Subscriptions, so loyal customers' needs are always met and at best price. Strong blended margins of about 75% and an estimated average customer lifetime of 9 years. And believe it or not, it's actually cheaper, substantially cheaper than the default, which is pads and diapers. Our go-to-market plan is best understood as a series of iterative launches. We just completed, well, we're in the process of completing the first launch, a pilot launch through Kickstarter. I'd be happy to take questions about that. There's been a ton of learning. The second launch will be a soft launch to build community among early adopters who will be most forgiving of our errors, I think. The third launch is general availability, where we share our marketing, where our marketing engine will really kick in. The fourth launch, promotion, for that will obviously substantially more capital. And then the fifth launch, partnerships and more. At this stage, we're building strong and global distribution, or we've already been acquired by a multinational. And of course, the revenue line is in accordance. Key accomplishments to date: proving out the product's utility and completing R&D, funding from credible backers. I've mentioned the NIH, the NSF, also Y Combinator, and building buzz and demand, especially in the professional physical therapy community. We do continue to apply for grants and are currently raising our final pre-seed round to prepare for commercialization proper. And now I'll take your questions.
Great. Thanks, Melody.
Sure.
Question for you on, you mentioned starting, direct to consumer and then, down the road, potentially other avenues as well. How do you think about staying exclusively focused on direct to consumer versus involving, you mentioned physical therapists or offices or clinicians or other partners as well?
So our presumption at this stage is that we will remain direct to consumer and continue to build out additional products. You'll see a lot of businesses like ours will add, and we absolutely intend to add accessories, things like water-based cleanser, water-based lubricant, new versions of the product that have, somewhat different features. We can go down sexual health and wellness path. We can go down other pelvic floor fitness tool development path. So that's our default. That said, I think there's a scenario where we do build out a case for treatment of different medical conditions. And so I'd be open to that, but our presumption is that we will be fundamentally a fun, fitness-forward consumer product company.
Great. Well, awesome, Melody. Well, thanks. There's some other questions here in the chat. I'll let you answer those, but thanks for sharing with us.
Okay, so I open the chat.
Shankha, I think our last one here.
Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Hey, there's Shankha Basu, founder, CEO of Benepower, and we are transforming healthcare benefits with AI. So 160 million people in the United States rely on their employers for access to healthcare, through employer-sponsored arrangements, benefits plans, insurance plans of that nature. $1 trillion is being spent on healthcare benefits in terms of just premium payments today. And that's supposed to rise to $2 trillion in 8 years. So for an average family of 4, you're looking at a premium spend of $25K for 4 people. And that's supposed to increase to $50K, in 8 years. This whole thing is unsustainable. We all understand it. There is so much pain that's around. So something has to be done. So we are focused on essentially lowering costs for employer-sponsored benefits plans and providing ways to manage care in a way so that people get higher quality care as well. Beyond cost, there are immense problems with quality in US healthcare. So though we spend the highest in per capita, on a per capita basis in healthcare today, on a number of quality measures, we are in the bottom quartile. If you look at the developed countries, we also have enormous challenges with what you call network gating in insurance arrangements, where there is a lot of healthcare innovation that's happening all around, as we can see from today's call. But if you want to access innovation, you would most likely run into gates, right? So you want to see a certain provider, want to access a certain care, want to get a certain drug, you're told that's not covered. Beyond that, you have poor customer service. Essentially, NPS scores in the single digits are very common in the healthcare insurance world. So what we are doing is we are bringing this AI-powered healthcare benefits platform to the market that builds on an agentic AI framework in assistive and autonomous modes to essentially lower costs and provide access to better care. We also eliminate a lot of insurance barriers by providing direct access to subscription-based services that employers can access alongside their traditional insurance plan. So we are not saying that we get rid of anything that you have in insurance, but we are something that augments it and also enables, better care. So how do we do that? We are also building an ecosystem of innovative healthcare services. These are not insurance gated, paid for by the employer on a subscription basis, mostly available to employees free of cost because the employer has already paid for it, or there might be one-time fees. So this industry in general is booming. So there are so many point solutions out there that can be curated for the population. We just make it easy to consume it. So how do we do that? We lead with a consumer experience called Truvo AI, and we just got approved by Apple and Google. So we went through the stringent process of bringing an AI app into their app stores. And I'll give you a glimpse of what that sounds like in action. So if we were to call a Truvo AI helpline today for a demo employer, I'll engage with the bot.
Hello, this is Jennifer, a virtual assistant for healthcare benefits from Truvo AI. How can I help you today?
Hey Jennifer, hey, I'm a new employee. I don't have my insurance cards yet. I just signed up, but I need to see a doctor for my son who's been feeling a little sick. Is there anything that can be done?
Hello, and welcome to your new role. I understand you need to see a doctor for your son who isn't feeling well, and you don't have your insurance card yet. I'd be happy to help. Let me check what options are available for you. One moment, please. Good news. Your employer offers Telemed 247, which would be perfect for your situation.
So that I give you an idea. So basically, the agentic mode is able to autonomously go and figure out a solution for me given the situation, and this would escalate it and get me transferred to a telehealth provider right away. One of the larger thing that we have done here is essentially trying to stack all your benefits in a single cohesive experience and being able to optimize that in real time and get you the best solution for your need. We lead with consumer experience, but we also have a really powerful agentic backend behind the scenes where we are able to ingest all your benefits information and make the agents perform in a way that the benefits plan is designed to be. So we don't sell directly to employers. We usually go through agencies and brokerages. It's $5 to $15 PEPM, which is per employee per month. We also get some, billing and payment services revenue share, but that's not too much. Major distribution partners are agencies, health advocacy companies. We are starting to roll out to third-party administrators in the insurance space, and also a lot of benefits providers. Even on the vendor side, we bring this experience to people. So virtual primary care, direct primary care, people who adopt our platform for their own customer service. We think we are, really essentially top of the stack in terms of what the experience would look like in today's world, because the legacy carriers are trying to do things with AI, but it's in their ecosystem. But we are enabling a platform that's really white label, and it can be branded to the employers or the health plans branding. Why now? Why are we doing this now? We think we are at this juncture where there is so much disruption happening and so many possibilities in terms of AI, as well as there is so much happening in terms of healthcare innovation. So it's the perfect intersection to be building something at this point. So we already have 100 plus employer groups in implementation. We have been around for a year. We are doubling our footprint over the next quarter. Enormous pipeline, and the goal is to get to 2 million employees over the next 5 years, which sounds very reasonable given that 160 million people are in this ecosystem and need to be served. Our team, we are repeat entrepreneurs in this space. So Julian and I founded this company, MedZoom, which was part of ATDC, and we exited to Allied Benefit Systems in 2023, sat out for a little bit, and then came back with Benepower. We have Vivek, who's joining us from Amazon and TikTok. We have some amount of presence in the West Coast as well. So starting to build out a team, raising a little bit of money. We are open to, you know, receive some checks if you're interested on a safe and literally trying to kind of get ready for a Series A earlier next year. So that's us. Any questions?
Thanks, Shankha, for sharing that. Question for you. You mentioned some of the employer groups and going through brokers. What's been the early feedback so far from them on why they most enjoy working with you?
Yeah, I think the flexibility of putting everything together and the ability for us in general to use AI to expedite integrations. So what would take literally months to implement now takes, days. So bringing together data feeds, being able to adapt to various data formats from third-party administrators, vendors and all that. So we do all of that. So you just saw the AI front end in terms of the consumer, but it's also powering the back end, which is very, very powerful and flexible.
Got it. So I'm hearing you say that the back end is what's most exciting for
Yeah.
them initially to get going, knowing it has front end benefits too, but the
Yeah.
back end is cool. And then from you mentioned sort of, ramping up across those pilots and sort of raising money, what are you looking for now in terms of, amount of money you're trying to raise or types of investors? What's most helpful for
So yeah, we are willing to raise up to 1 million right now. So we're already halfway there on the safe. And then we are for Q1 next year, we are planning a 5 to 10 million raise depending on where we are.
Got it.
So that would be a price round.
Very cool. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Um, well, great. Hopefully everybody enjoyed seeing four startups that are doing some great things here in healthcare. I think that's one of the neat things about Atlanta is there's a lot of great folks who are out building good businesses, and hopefully we can continue to find a way to support them, whether it's fundraising or customer connections. Or I was talking to some folks that are looking on the hiring side as well. So, if you're looking for an opportunity in healthcare, many of these places may be hiring, and vice versa there. So coming up, just a couple of dates coming up as we move forward. We've got some events coming up, a founder funder jog that Catherine leads. For those who met Catherine, have our monthly office hours in September that we do those every month. Feel free to pop on, ask us any questions. It'll be Catherine, JC, and I. And then our next healthcare meetup, we're going to do in person. It's going to be October 29th at the Tech Village in Buckhead. Going to have Chris from NP Hub. They just raised $20 million here locally and going to have that. So it should be a good opportunity to mingle, meet some folks in person, a little bit longer networking session, and then hear from Chris some of his stories and lessons learned there. As always, we've got a resource page, atlantiventures.com/healthcare, where we record these. You can view any past meetups. We share profiles of any of the Atlanta healthcare startups that are listed. So if you're not on there and want to be on there, we got a form you can fill out. We'll put you on there to share and connect. I always get asked a lot of times, hey, what are some of the early stage healthcare companies in Atlanta? And that's a great place for me to point investors or folks to there. But with that, busy morning, four great founders, and thanks everybody for joining us. JC, anything else you want to add?
That's it. If you want to connect with us, office hours are a great opportunity. AT and Catherine both have some blogs, and David, they subscribe to that has some of these upcoming concept things that are helpful. So feel free to join our community. We're glad you're here. And we'll give you 4 minutes back of your day so that you can keep moving through and talk soon. Appreciate all of our presenters.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining. Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.